All right, now we're gonna start it over because now I just messed that all up. We're gonna be watching NoClip's documentary on Final Fantasy 14 1.0. We're gonna learn all about the beginning of Final Fantasy 14 before you could jump and before it was super optimized and all of this crappy, all this crappy stuff that basically led to what the perfection is this time. I don't know anything. All right, fuck it. Well, I'm flustered. Let's go. I am not Japanese. I will not be doing that. Okay. I'm gonna turn it down. If it's too quiet, let me know. We're watching a whole documentary, so.
Square is buried deep into the culture of Japan. Originally a spin-off from Masafumi Miyamoto's father's powerline construction firm, for over 30 years its games have helped power the rise of Japanese games development. There are no shortage of games that live under the Square Enix banner, but none as big as Final Fantasy. From our Western perspective, there's an air of mythos around the company. The accepted truth behind the series' title is that it was named Final Fantasy as it was Square's make-or-break game to avoid impending bankruptcy.
I know when I first heard that Final... You have to... So you can understand the Japanese... Okay. I remember the first time that I heard like the whole Final Fantasy thing, and they're like, how come it's just not, you know, the Final Fantasy name? Like, how come they name it something else? And they just kind of kept it running. And when I heard that it was like their make or break thing, it was like a very eye-opening thing for me when I was like, I think I was like, I don't know, 12 when I heard that or something. So it was pretty cool. I think I know some of the background of Final Fantasy and how it started. But
and even if the real answer has more to do with creating an acronym that could be pronounced by both Eastern and Western audiences, it's that first story that gets told. That's the legacy of this series. Stories about adventures that get passed from generation to generation, as nearby as the arcades of Akihabara and as far as the playgrounds of Europe. As the Final Fantasy series has moved from numeral to numeral, there have been high points and low, but with each new game comes the promise.
Why they gotta show Final Fantasy X when the low point? That's the best. That's second best game in the series. Don't at me.
Of a new story, a new myth. The story of what happened with Final Fantasy XIV is one such myth. What we know about it comes from old reviews, archived message board threads, and through conversations with those who were there. The reason for this is that the original version of Final Fantasy XIV doesn't exist anymore. Unlike the vast majority of other old games, there is no way of playing it. It was redacted, painted over. Where once stood a game that threatened to sink the Final Fantasy brand forever, now stands the second most popular subscription
I'm there!
MMO in
I
the
just
world.
saw that!
And as the years pass us, the myth of that original version and its incredible redemption story are at risk of disappearing. How did it all happen? How did the same studio that shipped a broken mess turn it all around in 2 years? Why did they make the decision to keep the old version still alive while secretly working on a brand new game? And how did they manage to make all of this, the redesign and rebirth, part of the game's lore? We knew this was a story worth telling, not only for those who were there to see it all go down, but for the millions of you who have never heard about this, who never knew the extraordinary lengths the development team went to save this game.
I think the next video that I want to watch is the cinematic of the meteor coming down. So if anyone has that and they can link it in the Discord, that would be perfect. If it's not already in there. It might be, but I don't know.
So we did just that. Pack your bags, friends. NoClip is heading to Tokyo.
So cool. It's so awesome to learn things about your favorite franchise. Stuff like that's amazing. And yes, we will be watching all 3 parts. Not tonight, but... The death and rebirth of Final Fantasy XIV Online. Perfect. I can't wait. Ugh. if this is important to the lore or not. What's going on? Oh, right, this happened in Japan. I forgot. That's what they based this off of, apparently. What the hell was that? I would absolutely love to visit Japan. Visiting Tokyo is on my bucket list. I told my wife that, and she just called me a weeb. It's all right. I can handle it. It only hurt a little bit. Bro, what the heck?
Hello and welcome to Shinjuku, Tokyo, home of Godzilla, restaurants full of dancing robots, and Square Enix, one of the most prolific video game companies.
Oh, this is like a real documentary.
For the past few months, I've been playing catch-up with this story, playing the latest version of the game, talking to players, and watching community retrospective series like the Speakers Network's fantastic fall and rise of Final Fantasy XIV. My goal, to make sure we asked the right questions when we sat down with the team. During our time here in Shinjuku, we're going to talk to everyone from the engineers who worked on the original game, to localization leads, community managers, and even the CEO of the company, all to allow them the opportunity to tell their side of this fascinating story.
The
That's
fall and rise
awesome.
of Final Fantasy XIV happened in real time in front of millions of people around the world. But we wanted to know about this story from an entirely new perspective, from inside the corporate machine that made it happen, that led to its terrible launch and ultimately its incredible rebirth.
I'll take a look at that in a minute, Q. I don't think that's
My name is Michael Christopher Koji Fonks. I am the English localization lead.
Oh, all right.
For Final
Made
Fantasy
sense.
XIV. My middle name being Koji, it's not something I gave myself. It's a name my father gave me. My father was stationed in Japan for 2 years in the Navy when he was young. Went back to the States. My mom had me. They wanted to give me a Japanese name. The family was having none of that. So
Hold on. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know why I just got this in my head. Do you think that there is somebody like this guy who was born in, like, he's obviously white and he's born in like Japan, and he speaks in a, like, he has like a Japanese accent, so everyone just thinks he's a racist or something? Like, there's gotta be somebody out there who has that, honestly. Jeez. Japan is definitely a bucket list item for me. I'd go there for the food alone. The food looks amazing. But honestly, going to Tokyo, I'd turn into a massive weeb for that.
So they
Well, I
kind of
watch a lot
snuck
of
it in
Max
the middle name,
Mofo,
but then
and
they always called me Koji, and so I guess the joke was on the rest of the family. You know, my dad being in the Navy didn't really learn a lot about Japan, other than he really liked Japan, but didn't learn any of the language. So I always knew that my name was Japanese, but beyond that, I really didn't know anything about Japan. But there was always that little seed in there. And then when I got into high school, there's a Japanese class, and I like games. Oh, they make games in Japan. Hey, let me study Japanese. If I study Japanese, I can play all those cool Japanese games that
True.
never come out over in America. And it kind of just snowballed from there.
This guy's got it
When I
right. What the
graduated from high
hell?
school,
I wanna be
took a
this guy
trip to
for
Japan
when I
3
grow up.
weeks, homestay type of thing, and I fell in love with it. And during that period, I got to visit a lot of schools and a lot of English classes in those schools. And I thought, wow, I could probably do, I know English, I could do this, this will be easy. It wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, but I studied a couple years at a university in America, then transferred over to Japan, started over 4 years at a university in Japan.
Wow.
Got my teaching license, and yeah.
It's hard work being a teacher.
Unreal.
Yes, I mean, I loved it, but I mean, it was very draining, and that's why pretty much after you'd go to school, 6 in the morning.
So is this basically the origin story of the people who made Final Fantasy? Because if Final Fantasy 1.0 is this dude's legacy, I'm gonna be
for
really
morning
upset.
basketball practice, because I was the basketball coach, because as my principal said, hey, you're tall, you're the basketball coach. Then you'd get into classes.
That's
Then
racist.
I'd have my homeroom class, then I'd have 6 or 7 other classes teaching. Then you'd have after school. All of a sudden, it's there's after school basketball, and then you'd get home and you'd correct So I was really, always at school every day. It was very draining, and I would go home and I would play FF11. It was how I was able to relax, and being
Holy
able to
shit,
go into
they all
my
played
little
it.
room and turn off the lights and put on my headphones and get into that world of Vana'diel was something that helped me escape from the stress. And then it just happened to be, one day I was online, checking for
That's
11
amazing.
related information, and I saw that Square Enix was hiring, looking for a translator, and it just kind of, wow, that would be really cool.
Fuck teaching. I'm playing video games.
Koji wasn't alone.
What is
Final
that?
Fantasy
What is that? What is this right here? Is that the Makoti? The cat people? Is that them? That don't look like cat people to me.
14 was launched in 2010, but the story of this game starts 8 years earlier with the launch of Final Fantasy XI, Square's first MMO, the early days of online. Many of the team who worked on 14 started on 11. One of those was Kasuga-san, who joined the company in 1999 to build a network infrastructure for this fledgling MMO.
Damn.
自分はネットワークとサーバー
Wonder
担
how
当
good
で
Final
入ってい
Fantasy
て
XI is.
なので一番
or
最初にやっ
was.
ていたのが、当時プレイステーション2で初めて、厳密にはドリームキャストがその前にあるんですけれども、プレイステーションプラットフォームとしては、オンライン要素が入った初めての時期だったので、プレイステーション2でネットワークを作るために、TCP/IP のドライバーを作ったりとか、まだ当時モデム通信の時代だったんで、PPP 通信とか、あと ADSL がちょうど普及し始めた時期だったんで、ADSL の認証として使われた PPPoE とかっていうその本当にネットワークの下の部分、今だとあんまし誰も書かないような
I never actually was able to play online with my PS2. I could never figure it out as a kid. I was a dumbass.
スクエアエニックスって言いますか、スクエアが初めて、オンラインのあれだけの規模の、MMORPG 日本でやるってのはもう本当初めてだったんで、いやもう正直いろんなことがありましたよ当時ね。こんな言っちゃっていいのかな？言っちゃっていいの？OK なの？いいんだ。まずね、どういうことがあったかというと、あの時はMMO とかね、海外例えばウルティマとかそういった先行事例あるんですけど、基本的に PC ですよね。で、俺らがコンシューマーでやるなんて、もう無謀の極みだとかってね、もうたくさんそういうふうに言われました。ソニーさん。
Even now, I think like MMOs on console are still improbable. I feel like they lucked out with 11, and then when 14, like I cannot fathom playing on a controller. I don't understand how you can incorporate everything a keyboard and mouse can do into a controller. It's so strange to me. I cannot fathom it. Koji writes the lyrics to most songs and still translates for the games. He's an absolute treasure. Oh, so okay, so he's actually a part of it with everything. Okay, great. Final Fantasy 11 was my first MMO. I love that game. I'm glad. It only got you into this stuff. I'm not knocking it by any means. I hope that's like clear. I just don't understand.
ほとんど不可能だとかでよく言われてましたよ。実際には成功なんて。
11 was my first MMO I hadn't played.
Are you Michael? Decepticon, are you Michael?
Purchasing the PlayStation 2 broadband unit because they were all sold out. I ended up.
But I feel like ESO, it's Skyrim. Like they have Skyrim and they just made it into, like they took a single player console game and put it in an MMO setting. I don't think that it's, I mean, I haven't played a ton of ESO, but from everything I have played, or when I did play it for all of a day, it felt like Skyrim. So I don't know. I guess I'm just, I'm not trying to like knock anything, or I'm ignorant to it and I don't want to be, I guess.
Paying double on like some Yahoo auction or something like that. Ridiculous, but I had to play it. We got a new internet connection. We were on a regular modem at that time, but because, you know, we needed a new modem, we had to upgrade to ISDN 128, you know.
That don't mean shit to me.
Definitely worked.
I don't know anything about computers.
Something that was completely new to me, but, you know, fascinating. And ever since then, I've, you know, been into MMOs. Like, that was the gateway drug for me.
Final Fantasy 11 looks really good.
Some of the Western MMOs as well, getting into World of Warcraft, seeing the differences between the two.
Personally, I think it's very different. I mean,
never should have gotten to WoW
from the Western market because, yeah, it is for everyone in the globe, I mean, it's very first MMORPG on the console, PlayStation 2, and also, I mean, it was the first ever cross-platform MMO between PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360. The obvious one is that
Was Final Fantasy 11 turn-based? What the hell? ESO, oh yeah, it feels very much like Skyrim game, but the features in it are great for an MMO. It has its problems with being a button mashing game though, don't get me wrong. Okay, so that I don't know, I guess I'd have to see more of it. I don't want to judge it, you know, I understand that people play it and they like it, so I don't want to judge that, but I mean, I can't even imagine playing 14 with a controller. That sounds horrible.
most Japanese people don't really like to chat in public.
Right.
So, I mean, in the world, there's a lot of characters, but it's very quiet because people are using a tell instead of
Gambino.
say or shout. And then, but if you go to the Western world, game world, I mean, every single one is shouting around. So yeah, that's a huge difference.
You know, while in the West, you know, you have your EverQuests and you had your Ultima Onlines. In
Ugh.
Japan, there was none of that. And then, so Final Fantasy XI was really one of the first MMOs in Japan. And so getting to work with basically the pioneers of the Japanese MMO
Was a kill
really
party
exciting.
running around?
On the other hand, I mean, you could also say that it was possibly kind of a curse in the sense that they were all, you know, doing their own thing. They had their vision of what an MMO should be and what a Japanese MMO should be. And then me, again, not having played an MMO before, getting on this team and thinking, okay, this is an MMO, and translating away and working in that project, I kind of, you know, started thinking, okay, this is what an MMO is, this is what an MMO is. And then that one day I start playing WoW and it's like, oh, oh, seeing the differences between the two.
Yeah, I was playing, I did that a lot with WoW. I'd be playing WoW and all of a sudden I'd kind of do that too. But Final Fantasy XI was played through macros. You would scroll through them to do the skills. It was a very slow-paced game, not turn-based. Interesting. So that's strange. I mean, it's cool. It's different. Is it still like that? Like, is it like I know people still play 11, so I wonder if it's still like that. If I'm being honest, I'd rather play ESO with a controller. It's fine on PC, but it's set up better for controller with its UI system. Going from WoW to ESO to 14, I didn't realize how much I missed my bars. Yeah, I just couldn't imagine. Like, I mean, if the UI is set properly, like maybe one day I'll try it out and just to give it a shot, just to see. Yeah, the bars, like I feel like I've never not had bars to do anything with, so I can't fathom not. You could not solo in Final Fantasy XI. Everything was done in a group, so you just had kill squads running around. I can appreciate
And
that.
so, like, okay, what I thought was the norm in Final Fantasy XI, you know, the grinding for 20 hours to go up one level and then only to have your level drop when you know, pull too many crabs and it kills you and you've lost 5 hours work. Like, I thought that was normal. And then you're like, oh, that's not normal, is it? The Japanese...
What? In Final Fantasy XI, you die, you lose experience, you lose levels? Hell no, we ain't playing that.
Base game, Final Fantasy XI had already
What's
released,
up, Cat? Yep,
and
NoClip.
they were working on the first expansion pack, Rise of the Zalart. I was part of the team that was working to get the base game and Rise of Zalart all translated before the Japanese Rise of Zalart was finished, so we could all release at the same time.
Right. Did you get it on time?
I got it on time. I haven't missed a deadline yet. That's one thing I'm proud of.
Good on
Final
you.
Fantasy XI
Good
was
on
a
you,
huge
Koji.
success for Square Enix. It established a concurrent user base of around 250,000 players for years.
Holy
it was the
shit.
most profitable Final Fantasy game ever, and at one stage was the 6th most popular game on all of Xbox Live. More than that, it established the Japanese style of MMO, and when the decision was made in 2005 to start work on a sequel, the new MMO was built around things that made 11 successful, focusing, like most Final Fantasy games do, on beautiful graphics and an interesting battle system. This new game was to be directed and produced by the same duo that shipped 11, series veteran Hiromichi Tanaka and Nobuaki Komodo.
Wait. 11's still up and they still get updates? Like, not content updates, but like patches and stuff like that? Like just kind of real Jesus.
Final Fantasy XIV was
baby!
announced for Windows and PlayStation 3 in 2009, but behind the scenes the development team was struggling to put the pieces of its new world together.
ファイナルファンタジー14のその最初のバージョンの、自分が見た時の一番大きな問題点、最終的にそれ
Oh shit.
が問題だった
We're
と考
getting to
え
the
てるの
juicy
っていうのは
bits.
最初のコンセプトとしてそのプランナーがスクリプトを書くことによってゲームを作っていこうで、利点としては、プランナーが考えて自分たちで実装するんで高速な開発ができる。要はそうじゃないと基本的にはプランナーさんものを考えて
Excuse me.
開発者にエンジニアに相談してどう実装するかを決めてでゲームデザインをする人はそのどういうパラメータをいじりたいかとかを相談しながらエンジニアと話をしてものを作っていかなきゃいけないんですけれども、そこの部分に関してスクリプトを導入すると自分で考えて自分で実現することができるようになるっていう発想でゲーム実装の大半がスクリプトで組まれてたんですね。で、
Okay.
そのスクリプト UI の問題もそうなんですけれども、ゲ
It's
ーム
let
の
everything
UI も
run on
基本的にはスクリプト
scripts.
で書かれていて、でスクリプトを動かすエンジン側がかなり負荷が高いというか CPU をたくさん使わないと動かない状態になっているんで、ちょっとした何かをするだけでもゲーム内で少し何かをするだけでも非常に
This is kind of what you guys this is kind of what you guys are talking about, how even like what is that the game was so intensive for because I remember you guys saying that. I mean, most everyone who's in here has played Final Fantasy 1.0, which is nuts to me. Hard. I lost like 2 days of experience. What the? Fuck that. Nope. 11 just got master levels, I think, like on the 10th. Oh my
CPU リソー
god.
スを使うことになっていて、すぐにサーバーが回るサイクルが遅くなっていくっていうことが問題として発生し
So
て、
they put
結果と
they
して
let
その
everything
サーバーでできることは
automated and
少
just
ない。ゲーム
ruined
と
it.
してサーバーで実現できるところは少ないですし、何かしようとすると負荷が上がっちゃうんで、じゃあそれを回避するためにどうしようとかっていうことで、結果的にそのゲーム内容としてリッチなものが実現できなくなっているってことが起きてましたね。で UI もスクリプトで組まれていたので、なんかちょっと処理するだけでもすごい時間がかかるっていうような問題が発生していました。
Like I mentioned before, again, localization being in a position where we get to see all the parts come together first. We were some of the first to realize that, Houston, we have a problem. That type of situation. I mean, you had the battle team. They're like, yes, we have this great battle system, with stamina and these things that you can do. And then you had this
Stamina?
Story. Yes, we have this story. Oh, hey, we have these guild leads and all of these parts. And everyone was really, really proud of their parts.
But they didn't come
look
together.
At this grass, it's so beautiful. Look at this barrel. It's the most beautiful barrel ever to be, represented in graphical form.
Oh shit.
It's got as many polygons as the character.
Yes. And all of those parts, all of these teams, again, very, very proud of their work. I mean, the team was, put together some of the best minds in Square Enix. You had people that were, leads that could probably even, lead their own projects were all come together. And it became a lot of just tiny little groups making something that was really great. But once you put it together, it was kind of a mess.
It's like all these dudes were like, hey, we're going to design a puzzle, and everyone gets to design their own puzzle piece, but no one's going to talk about what their puzzle piece is going to look like. So they just come together and they hope to God it all fits, and obviously it's not going to work too well. That UI was so garbage. Yeah, what can it... Yeah. Okay, the graphics are... I've realized this. Graphics are important. And I have these blinders on, even when I go back and I play, even Final Fantasy IX. It's hard, like, it looks good. Like, the rendered the pre-rendered backgrounds look good, and everything looks good, and I like it. But it's a lot harder to look at and stay looking at it when you have games like Final Fantasy XIV, or even just Final Fantasy X. I'd rather play 10 for the graphic fidelity than 9, because my eyes don't get tired when I'm staring at 10 versus 9. I really want to go back and play some of the old like pixel art now, but I don't know if I feel like I have grown to be a big entitled baby, and I just don't know if I could stand the graphics, the pixels. I don't know if I could do it, guys. I mean, I can go back and play Tactics all day, every day, but that's it's neither here nor there. Best game ever.
Nobody really knew that, except for localization and probably QA as well. And we were like, okay, we need to do something. But by then it was one of those, it's kind of too late to do anything. But for us, we would be looking at the text, and some of it, you know, it wouldn't make sense, or it would just be very bland, and thinking, if there's any way to make this game better, what can we do? It's like, well, I can take this text and maybe add some more stuff into it, add some more flavor to it, and you know, maybe that will distract people from the fact that the battle is not that fun.
At a fundamental level, the piecemeal
World
design
of
of the game was
Warcraft.
causing
They do that.
problems. Graphics were inconsistent.
Well, I'm not saying that it doesn't. Okay, I'm not saying that pixel art is bad. I'm not saying anything like that. I do agree it holds up better than what they think the top design or top graphics are now. Like, I get that, but it's almost like it stresses out your eye. It stresses out my eyes, like staring at it. Like, I'd rather. Like, there's a certain bar of graphics that I want now, where if I play an older game that I haven't played in the past, like if I were to go right now and play Final Fantasy VI, which I haven't played, I probably would not like that, and I wouldn't be able to get used to it, and the graphics would actually hinder me from playing it. I might still do it for the story and everything, but the graphics can hold me back. If I'm looking back in nostalgia, like Ocarina of Time, or even going as far back as the SNES with A Link to the Past. Like, I can play those just fine because that's stuff I've played before. And I have nostalgia for it. I don't know, I feel weird. Exactly. I didn't grow up with that. I didn't grow up in that era. It's just not, I did not grow up with it, and I don't have the nostalgia for it that drives me with my rose-tinted glasses. Someone who's played Kyrian recently, a newer pixel art game, graphics aren't a huge issue for me. It's beautiful to look at high graphic games. Yeah, graphics are not necessary. They just, I don't know, like they help. And I'm not ashamed to say it, okay? I'm not ashamed. Graphics make everything better. But not every game benefits from better graphics. You can't have a shitty game with the best graphics. I'm talking about, like, Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain wasn't a shitty game, but it wasn't a great game. The graphics made it a great classic. I also think Heavy Rain got spoiled for me. All right, back to the video, guys. Come on. You're messing me up here. You're messing me up. Oh, shit. I've muted it. Shit. Right, I can play a game with shitty. I'd rather play a game with shitty graphics and a great story and great combat versus a beautiful game that is garbage in every other way.
Some environmental objects had as many polygons and shaders
That's
as
the
a
bucket,
character
the
model.
flower
The
pot.
battle system was just confusing. The game didn't have elements fundamental to most modern MMOs, things like jumping, auto attack, and the ability to interact with the map using a mouse.
Oh my god, you can't jump. Every time I hear that, I'm shocked. It doesn't make sense. How can you have a game where you don't jump? Like, what the I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, in an MMO, how can you have an adventure game without jumping? Even if you don't need to jump, like, just have a jump feature, man. Come on. Ugh, I don't understand it. Oh, I understand. Like, this is all lessons they had to learn. This is crazy to me. Everyone's got to learn.
It had a system that nerfed hardcore players to make sure they didn't level up too fast. The UI was confusing, crafting was incredibly complex and took forever, and simply there just wasn't enough content. The closed beta wasn't going well. They needed more time to fix these problems, so the open beta was pushed back to within a month before launch. The team knew there were problems, and they were getting frustrated.
で、今まで話していた仕事っていうのは大体その2010年の1月から、実際にリリースされる8月ぐらいまでの間にやっていたことで、 まあ、ゲームが本当に良くないっていうのがこう、
Well, I got booted.
まあ、みんなに認識されて自覚されていくっていうのは結局ベータが始まって製品版が始まってっていうまあ8月9月10
Oh
月ぐら
shit!
いま
Hold
での
up,
期
hold
間
up.
に
If I do this, I'm gonna end up. It's gonna play the intro cinematic, and then I will. And that's all you'll hear in the background. Yeah, this mic. Okay, sorry.
起きたことなんですね。で、実際にはこう
Okay. The problem is that WoW released and Square Enix was still making old-style MMOs. WoW had already moved the genre forward. Yeah, it makes sense. It's like it's kind of like oh, what the hell? I don't remember what. There was a game that came out. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll think about it. You need to jump as an outlet. Oh, okay. You have exactly, Blaze. You have to jump as an outlet for hyperactive players. That I jump. I mean, actually, I don't. In this game, I don't jump nearly as much as I did in WoW. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's just because I'm so distracted by the game. They thought they were too good for jumping. Come on. You can't be too good for jumping. The Shadowbringers trailer going to play. Yeah, it's like WoW nowadays. Exactly. Guys, how do you know all these lyrics? I don't understand. I can't hear any lyrics ever.
としてもリリース前、そのベータが始まる前から本当にこれをリリースしていいものかどうかっていう議論はある程度そのチーム全体でオフィシャルであったわけではないですけれども、開発者の中ではやはりその世に出していいクオリティかどうかっていうところは議論がありました。
When 1.0 was getting made, was the mentality that, oh, we're not like, that's like their thing, and
Dumpster
we have
fire.
our very own successful thing over here, we're going to just make another one of those?
Right, and that's really what it felt like, is that we're going to continue doing what we did because it succeeded before, why wouldn't it succeed again? And seeing that direction.
Okay, so you were right, Decepticon.
And knowing that, having worked on 11, that yes, they were very successful, seeing the success that they had with Final Fantasy XI, seeing these great creators, creating something that was, revolutionary. But then on the other hand, knowing that what they were doing was, yeah, but maybe that worked 6 or 7 years ago, but a lot of things have changed since then. And I think there was even one guy on the localization team that got to that point where he just got so frustrated that he just wrote this scathing mail and sent it out to the whole team before telling anyone else on localization
you, I
he was going
hate
to
you.
write it. And
you guys suck at your job.
The devs team, we're reading, it's like, wow, this is really terrible. I hope he doesn't. Oh, he sent it to the whole team. Because he just got really frustrated.
Why aren't you guys doing something smart? Like, he probably is a WoW player, to be honest.
They hadn't moved on, whereas the rest of the world had moved on and adapted, with the release of WoW and what they had done.
Ooh, WoW sucks. No, it didn't.
Like, no,
it was
we're
actually the
stick
best
with what we know,
before.
And that's good enough.
Then start feeling more concerning the situation. I mean, this is not fixed. Oh, you announced the launch date, but it's not fixed. So, but still, some major portion of people are still thinking, believing. No, it's better, still better. Last phase, but still better. So it could be, fixed or changed at the launch timing.
So that video that we watched, 1.0 in a nutshell, where they were like, okay, so we have all these problems. And he's like, we have all this going on, all these problems. Are we going to fix it? Launch. That wasn't even exaggerated at all. Oof, the copium. Stop it. Final Fantasy 11 was only made as a Final Fantasy 14 was only made as a follow-up to 11 and disregarded any and all advancements of the game made for like a decade. Okay, so yeah. So you and Decepticon both kind of said that. I'll listen to the trailer 100 times when we get to Shadowbringers. I'll do it on stream. I'll listen to it 110 times. I'll watch the trailer. Don't quote me on that, please. WoW was great. It was great. It was up until Wrath of the Lich King, and then after that, it just all went downhill. Don't at me on that either. I'm a WoW baby. I'm not actually a WoW baby. I played in Burning Crusade, but Lich King baby was I'll still call it pure copium. Stop.
Kind of went from thinking, okay, this project's going to be great, to, uh-oh, there might be some problems. Can we fix them? Can we fix them? Okay, we can't fix them.
Don't even fix them.
Is there anything we can do? I don't know. It was a very taxing experience.
The team crossed their fingers and hoped that the game's beta problems were simply that, the same issues that...
These cutscenes look really good. Like, I don't know if it's just... Like, I know the game was whatever, but I don't know. I really like these cutscenes. I almost like them more than what the cutscenes are in like the current game. Probably not. Like, I'm probably just saying that, but I'm just saying these look really good.
Most MMOs have, ones that could be fixed with patches
Papa!
once the game entered live operations. And so Final Fantasy XIV Online launched on September 30th, 2010. It sold well its first week, and after a month had over 600,000 players swarming into its world. But it didn't take long for the cracks to appear. The problems in the beta were echoed by new players. The game was sluggish, the servers crashed, and Eorzeans quickly ran out of things to do. Quests were limited, and the fatigue system even made grinding for XP next to impossible. Critics ate it alive too.
Let's get right down to it. Unless you've got the patience of Job or some kind of masochist, you shouldn't play Final Fantasy XIV. Its problems are so vast that I could spend hours talking about them. The awful interface, the recycled content, the stringent limits on questing, the useless maps, the stupid market ward, these issues and dozens more constantly have you asking that age-old question, what were they thinking?
What were they thinking?
So, what was it like seeing public reaction?
Yeah, it was...
Holy shit. WoW has the same problems today. That's what made this documentary so interesting to me. They try to recall nostalgia without understanding why those systems worked and don't recognize modern gaming. That explains... Like, I'm agreeing with you on that completely there, Shadow, because WoW is... They try to tap into this, like, nostalgia, this rose-tinted glasses, and they just suck ass at it. They actively tell you, you don't want that. You don't want that. You want what we're doing now. And they refuse to adapt. I don't even know exactly what they need to adapt to. I'm not well versed in gaming like that. I don't pay attention to trends when it comes to the MMOs. So when I get to Endwalker, or when I get to Shadowbringers into Endwalker, I'll see kind of what's happening in the updated space. Maybe even Stormblood now. You guys say that Stormblood's a lot better, even like just like gameplay wise. So I'll have more to say about that later. I'm ignorant to it right now, but I've been 15 years full of WoW in my brain. I gotta heal from that. The cutscenes are so good. They were fully motion capped. Holy crap. See, that's why they looked really good. I don't know, they just stuck out to me. Job from the Bible, yeah, we won't talk about beliefs or anything like that, but I don't know Job, I'll tell you that much. Final Fantasy XIV was ultimate. It was a dumpster fire, trust me. I trust you, don't worry. WoW needs to respect people's time and stop time gating and making you do things repeatedly with no reward. Or my favorite, give you the random reward where all of a sudden they're like, hey, do this dungeon, get a piece of gear, and hope to God that it has good stats. It's Titan Forged, it's War Forged, it's Void Touched, it gives you the proper whatever, like everything, proper corruptions in BFA. It's like they want it to be everything RNG. It's so stupid. How do you expect a player to want to grind? Like, I want a piece of gear. I want armor. I want what it is. And I'm going to get that fucking armor. And how shitty would it be? You spent 8 months grinding out a piece for a piece of gear. And it's not Warforged, so it's garbage to you. It's all to keep you playing. Yeah, it's arbitrary, it's useless, it's stupid, and it's disgusting. It's morally wrong. Oh, it's not it, dude, they basically just have a whip to your back at that point. Like, they are just like, keep on going, and they understand that you've been playing for so long, you're not gonna stop. It's horrible. It's horrible. I hate it. Oh my god. I absolutely hate it. All right, enough screaming. Back to the video. We're not even halfway through yet. Come on, boys.
Because, you know, you'd want to look at those and you'd want to say, no, they don't understand. They don't know, you know, what's going on here. Or you know, but deep down, you'd know they were right. And that was what kind of, you know,
I feel bad for this
dagger
boy.
in your heart, and it's twisting because, you know, you want to defend what you worked on. I mean,
what if they did the whole thing with Horschiffon, and they keep bringing him up, and they did what they did to him in retaliation for us all hating 1.0.
People that I worked with.
Well, I know there's 3 parts, Kat, but
I mean, I still
we'll get there. We will
work with a lot of them. I had worked with them before in FF11. I consider them not only coworkers but friends. But you know, and then you see people online, you know, bashing the work they did, and I know how hard they worked. I know how many hours they put in. I know that, like, in the last 3 or 4 months, people were basically living at work, all putting their 100% into this game that was, you know.
That's probably what it's like to make videos, and I'm scared of that.
Crash and burn. And then to have people online just say, oh, that sucks, this person is a piece of shit, and their work is terrible. It hurts, but it hurts more because if I was not here and was a user and had played that game, I probably would have said the same thing.
True.
そうですね。当時もね、私CF をやってたんで。なんですけれども、ローンチのタイミングやっぱり一番大きく違ったのは11の時のいろいろごたごたねと9の14の時のごたごた一番違うっていうのは、11の時はいろいろごたごたあったけど、ゲームに関して言うとさすがに相当やっぱり相当程度やっぱり受け入れファン相当のやっぱり評価されたんですよね。でオペレーション上の、ね、トラブルとかっていろいろ多分あるっていうのは、これはある程度つきもので、大変だったんですけれども、それはあったんですけど、ゲーム内容に関して言うと非常に評価されたというふうに理解してますけれども、前作の場合の一番やっぱ私はちょっとまずいなこれって思ったのは、やっぱりゲーム自体の評価が非常に厳しいものだったということですね。これはちょっとやっぱり相当大丈夫かなと。いうのをローンチした後ね、やっぱり
I feel really bad for all these guys who had to go through something like that. Just knowing that like their work just got fucking killed.
しばらく経って、そんなに長い期間じゃなかったですね。そうしばらくなんでやっぱり相当なこのままで大丈夫なのかっていう社内でも相当やっぱり議論ありましたからね。
I mean the first few months.
I remember the first time I heard 14, an internet person I followed was at E3 and trying to ask people, but what do you do in the game? Oh no! Because like all the footage was standing around. So what do you do? I don't know. They totally win because they realize their game is a piece of crap. Copium be gone. That's true. Copium be gone. Once if you can look at it and be like, yeah, that was garbage. That puts you leagues above. Like that's amazing. Good for them.
It was just an endless stream of translating apology mails from producers and directors and finding out, trying to figure out different ways of saying we're sorry, because the more you say it, the less weight it has. But Japan being a country where people apologize a lot, that's part of the culture.
Is that really a thing?
But then trying to translate that, it's like, okay, this is the 10th time I've said sorry in this one post, and then from the American myself, it's like, yeah, people are going to look at that as insincere. The more you apologize, the more and then trying to explain that to the team, it's like, no, we have to apologize. It's like, yes, you have to apologize, but and it just became, we weren't talking about the game anymore. We were talking about how to translate apologies, and it seemed like that lasted for a couple months.
Actually,
success from failure. Yeah, you cannot succeed without failure. That's obviously what this is. Like, this is what this is telling. Why are you standing around in I stand around in Ulda to socialize. What a concept. I don't think I've ever really socialized in WoW past Cataclysm. I don't think I've ever sat around the major cities and did that. I stand around why are you standing around in Oribos waiting for your queue to pop? Oh, you're bringing back horrible memories here. You're killing me.
We see a
Right, hold up. I gotta just make sure my game doesn't log me out here. Okay.
huge drop. I mean, right after the launch timing, we got some good number of the subscribers. Then that fall. I mean, as you can imagine. So
Yep.
I mean, it was failure, and we announced failure. So we see lots of decline.
さっきも話した通り、実際にはその
The fact that you can
開発内で
go
も
out and say that.
今リリースすべきかっていうかリリースできるクオリ
I'm a recovering addict too. Sorry, buddy. Welcome to WoW Anonymous. My name's Aranova. Hold on. Hi, Aranova. I'm a WoW addict. I have played WoW for too long, and now I sit around and AFK until my queue pops so I can do my LFR raids. And then I log off, and then I do the same thing the next day. It's affected my life horribly. Run circles in Oribos, exactly. Those ARR days before the duty finder must have been rough. Well, I think I know the duty finder or like the dungeon finder and anything it destroys a lot of socialization, but I feel like that is because I don't even really know why. I don't know because like when Wrath of the Lich King came out, it was cool and exciting. You do a dungeon, it's awesome. You get to just group with random people on different servers and you talk and you play. I don't know what changed. I don't know what changed in that. But I remember in like Burning Crusade when you had to go or even in Lich King, you had to talk to people. You had to post in the group and people would just fly to you. Like you'd have to do it. Most of the sprouts I know in 14 right now are recovering WoW addicts. Those sprouts aren't as good as me though, right? Just making sure.
ティにあるかっていうのが
Asking for a friend.
ベータ直前とかベータが始まってもそうなんですけど常に疑問はあったのでリリースして実際
It
に
definitely should not have been released in that. You can't jump!
それまでにチーム内にあった空気はやはり出したら意外と受け入れられる可能性があるんじゃないかっていう
If I don't look at it, it'll just work.
出せばどうにかなるのかも自分たちが思っているほど悪くないのかもっていう何の根拠もない希望的なものがあったんです。
That's copium.
出た結果結局
Legit, I hear so much WoW news in 14. WoW recovery is a tough time. Well, that's what I've been going through right now. I've been dealing with like the recovery of. You guys have an expansion coming out. Like I've talked about this before. Endwalker is coming out, and all I want to do is power through the entire story. I want to buy a skip and just get to that. And I just don't like. I'm not going to. I know I don't want to miss it, and I'm pushing myself not to. And taking the time when I feel like rushing through to. I'm doing this right now. It's very strange. I feel like I like this, but I feel weird. I feel like I should be grinding out the MSQ, like just bam, bam, bam. But I'm not doing that right now. Taking my time. I'm doing the process. I will get there when I get there, and I have you guys along for the journey, which is amazing. We are now the VTuber fan boom phase of the servers burning. I don't want to hear anything about VTubers. I don't like VTubers. I don't understand it. I don't understand VTubers at all. I don't get it. I left WoW on Around My Born day 1 because 11 was my first MMO, so I have more connection to Final Fantasy than WoW. I can't believe you left WoW at that time. That was like hype time. That was key time to be a WoW
そ
player.
んな魔法は起きなくて、やはりその
Good for you getting out early.
自分たちが感じてる通りにまあまだ世に出すには早いというか
We released a broken thing and it was
達
actually
してい
broken.
な
Who
い
would
商
have
品を
thought?
出してしまったっていう気持ちはみんなにあったので、実際にその改善し
This just popped in my head. Think about this. Think about this right here, this situation. They released something that was not perfect or not good or it actually wasn't even okay. And they rushed it out. They pumped it out. They released it. It failed. And they were so like they needed to get it out. And they didn't, like they knew it wasn't going to work, but they still did it anyway. And it did fail. Consider now Endwalker's release. Just 2 weeks ago or whatever. Whenever I remember the interview thing was when Yoshi P is like, hey, I gotta delay it. We had to delay it a month, all right? He started crying, but he did the right thing. Like the fact that they're willing to push it back now and not make the same mistakes, they're learning, it's amazing. It's amazing. I can't believe it. I feel like what happened with WoW Socialization is that they started focusing more on its hardcore endgame experience instead of the MMO world. Oh my god. Endgame? I'm so sick of hearing endgame. All I can think about is endgame, like right now in Final Fantasy. Like there is nothing to do. Like there is just nothing to do endgame wise except grind and bash your head into a wall in hopes you get some freaking epic gear, some purples or whatever. I don't know what it is in this game, but just get the gear. Like it's so arbitrary. It's so redundant. And there's nothing, you don't benefit from it. It's not like WoW. And I think because there's not a true end, like you can't just get the best piece of gear. You can't just get, there is no best in slot anymore. Like you can't feel good about getting the best in slot and having top tier gear. Now it's all arbitrary. It's all RNG. If you're gonna get the stats or whatever or the war forging or whatever you need. So many WoW sprouts do not read tooltips, tutorials, or MSQ text. You're fine, dude. I don't read a ton. Like I read the MSQ text, and I guess I read the tutorials and stuff. Like I don't know, it's a different game. I want to know it. It's like I constantly want to be fed information for it. Sounds like Blizz these days. That's what it is. It's exactly like Blizzard. Blizzard has shot themselves in the foot with this all. It's ridiculous. That is exactly what they do. They just push out random like the whole thing with not Shadowbringers. Damn it, Shadowlands. All the names are starting to blend. Shadowlands should have been delayed. Everybody agrees. Everybody agrees that Shadowlands should have been delayed to polish it. And what do? They push it out. It's garbage. It starts to decline. It fails. And then you turn around and look at Square Enix and they're like, fuck, dude, we got to delay it a month. It's the only way it's going to be fucking perfect. We're going to polish this perfect game and make it more perfect. I'm so sorry. And Blizzard's over here shitting in everyone's mouth. It's horrible. Fuck, I'm getting heated over here. It's less about fun, more about being a competitive game experience. It's not even that. It's just garbage. It's dribble. It's boring, redundant gameplay, and there's no end in sight. At least in Final Fantasy, I feel good when I beat the big bad and I get like a piece of gear or something. I don't know. Like I'm just doing Heaven's Ward stuff. I'm about to get into Stormblood, and I'm like, this is so much better for endgame. Like, I'd love to play endgame like that. You're just gonna have way more game 2. Just the bits you get to interact with will be a bit different. Yeah, I'm in different. Heck, you could use Reaper on. I know. I plan on using Reaper. Do not worry. I will do that. WoW trained you well. This is how they sell boost to tell you the good stuff is there to skip. Exactly. WoW drives it in your brain like you have to do endgame stuff. If you don't, you're not gonna miss it out. It's FOMO. It's all FOMO there. I came back to Shadowlands to go to Torghast and quit. I liked Torghast at first, but then it was to keep on doing. It was Torghast is useless, or its only use is to build up soul ash that you can spend on your legendary item. That's all it is. It's just you do it for one thing. Like you don't get anything else, and it gets boring. It's relic weapon grinding, mount collecting, general cosmetic stuff is our end game, but so is Gold Saucer and that farming island thing coming in Endwalker. I don't know anything about that, Blaze. Come on. The fact that I can sit there and gamble away my life. Like, I can't wait for that. 14. Here's my expansion, Shadowbringers. Don't copy. No, I can't. It's Final Fantasy 14. Or WoW. Hey, man, I didn't do my homework. Can I copy yours? 14. Yeah, man, but just don't make it obvious. Wow. Shadowlands. So stupid. The sheer fact that a Realm Reborn's endgame is still viable content for you to have fun with. You could have even minimum eye level if you want to harder challenge. Oh, and Heaven's Ward and Shadowbringers and Stormblood and Shadowbringers content is still available for you to enjoy. Exactly. That's what I'm doing now. I'm taking my time. I'm getting ready for it. Also, Drac, welcome to the stream. I could spend forever in Palace of the Dead. Screw Torghast. Well, Palace of the Dead, you level up. You get to level up through that. You get to experience other classes. Like, I'm a level 45 Paladin in Palace of the Dead right now. And I get to level it up. I'm level 16 in the real world. So, like, it's a quick way to level and to experience your class before really having to play it or commit the time. Like, I like it. I like it a lot more than... I like it way more than Torghast. Torghast is... It's just not fun. Torghast is just not fun. Not as fun. I still like I said, I like Torghast. I don't like the concept of Torghast or the end, the reason to do Torghast. I wish there was actual reasons. All right. Back to the video, guys. You're distracting me.
根本的に対応しなきゃいけないっていうところはチーム内に割とすぐ広がったと思ってます。なので特にすごいそんなことはないっていう意見がすごく強くあって、誰かを説得しなきゃいけないみたいなことは特になかったですね。
Palace of the Dead is so fun. I occasionally go back and get destroyed emotionally while being like 10 levels away from Necromancer. Oh yeah, I don't think I ever beat... I don't know if I've ever actually beat a boss. Oh, maybe I have. Maybe I beat a boss in there. I don't remember. I can't remember if I did or not. It's been a while. It's been a lot. It's been a bit, like 2 months since I've done Palace of the Dead.
Today, Square Enix is based
PC
across
influence
multiple
time.
floors in a modern office complex in Shinjuku, Tokyo. It's a company that is often designing multiple projects at once. And while Final Fantasy XIV was being developed, in another part of the building a different game was being made. Produced by a Final Fantasy fan, his name, Naoki Yoshida.
一番最初はファミリーコンピューター
Do I know that guy?
US だと
Why does he look so familiar?
のマリオブラザーズが一番最初にプレイしたゲームです。とにかくそのテレビの中、テレビっていうのはその見るものだと思っていた子供の時に。ところがそのマリオブラザーズで初めてそのコントローラーを握ってゲームをプレイした時に、まずそのテレビのものを自分が自由に動かせるっていうことがものすごいショックで、友達の家でプレイさせてもらったんだけど、ものすごい興奮したのを覚えてますね。ドラゴンクエストっていう日本で RPG
Dragon Quest. I love Dragon Quest 8 was
触った時にアクションではないゲーム、数字のやり取りでこんなにまたさらにゲームは面白くなるんだっていうのを、特にストーリーラインがあってっていう、また次のカルチャーショックを受けて RPG っていうジャンルにものすごくなんだろうフォーカスしていくことになった。
Look at those rings! I didn't just realize.
翌年に出た
I want to get a ring like that. Alright guys, for Christmas, I want Yoshi P's ring that's on his middle finger. if I can get that for if you guys want to donate to the stream for that ring, that would be lit. Just saying.
的なその演出、ファンタジーをより強く打ち出したっていうところにもすごい衝撃を受けてたので、やっぱり僕の中でドラゴンクエストとファイナルファンタジーっていうのはすごい大きかったですね、当時。
Like most Japanese players at the time, Yoshida-san played all the early Final Fantasy games. He holds them in high regard, though he still holds the bitter memory of not being able to save before the last dungeon in Final Fantasy III. But when he was 11 years old, a brand new type of gaming experience
Always got
arrived
that
at home.
drip.
His uncle gave him a PC. On this PC, the young gamer learned how to program BASIC. His first video game centered around trying to break into a bank vault. But this PC also exposed him to a spectrum of gaming that eluded most Japanese players. Western role-playing games. He fell in love with games like Diablo and was stunned when he first went online and played with other players.
で、その翌年にウルティマオンラインをベータからプレイし、先輩にとにかくすげえゲームあるって言われて、ウルティマオンラインをベータから始めたのが初めてプレイした作品で、やっぱり同じようなその3回目の衝撃、3000人が同時に一つの世界で遊ぶっていうのがもうとてつもないまた衝撃でしたね。まあウルティマは本当に自由度のウルティマオンラインは特にとにかく初期は自由度がめちゃくちゃ高いゲームだったので、そのいわゆるロードの称号をつけたそのなんて言ったらいいんだろうな。
Role players!
すごく紳士的なというか、コミュニティリーダー的プレイをするキャラクターと、
Evil players are the
完全に
bomb!
悪のプレイヤーキラーをやるキャラクターを2つ作って、どっちもものすごい遊んでたし。
I feel like Yoshi P gets it. He's just like, hey, I'm a good guy. I play the game. I know what it's like. I'm a little devious, and he axes people. I like that. I like that a lot.
MMORPG っていうゲームがどう作られているのか、どういったエンジニアリングが必要なのかっていうのも、
He really is an MMORPG.
もうその頃からはコンソール
Look at those graphics!
同じぐらいの比重で PC でゲームをかなり遊ぶようになってたので、自分で PC パーツ買ってきて組み立てたりしてたし、でやっぱりそのあたりで FPS もかなりプレイし始めてたし、特に 3DMMO のスタートであるエヴァクエスト、その後プレイをし始めて、当時エヴァクエストのパッケージを日本で手に入れるのが本当に大変で、出張で東京に来た時に秋葉原をね、時間を作ってゾンビのように店をこううろうろして、エヴァクエストってゲームないですか、エヴァクエストってないですかって。
Yoshida-san would embark on a career
Yoshi
in
P
games
is
that would eventually
ganking.
see him
I love
joining
it.
Square Enix to work on the Dragon Quest series. Though he wasn't working on the Final Fantasy team, he was part of the umbrella group that was allocating programmers to various projects. He didn't have granular visibility on FF14, but he knew the team was struggling. I asked from his perspective as a producer where he thought the game's problems were coming
Everything! Throw it away!
候補にカットされるのかもしれないけど。
The old Elder Scrolls, like Arena and I don't even know I don't know what the other one is. But it's like the point and click kind of stuff, if I'm not mistaken. Because I played Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim. I don't think I ever played like Arena and the other one.
クリスタルツールズって呼ばれるミドルウェアを
They're not point and click, but they
作
kind of like
ろう
that.
としていたので、腕のいいプログラマーが
God damn it.
全部そのチームに各なんだろうゲームラインから
Fucking
招
potatoes.
集されて、そのメインプログラマーがみんないないっていう状態になってしまったので、どのプロジェクトもものすごい大変な時期だった。まあオリジナルの14がああなってしまった理由の一つでもあるかなとは思いますけど、さらに2つ大きな問題がそこに絡まっていて、スクエアエニックスその全体にプレイステーション2のジェネレーションで本当に世界一
top three Final Fantasies right there
のクオリティが高い、そしてゲームエクスペリエンスがものすごく詰まったゲームっていうのをたくさんリリースしたので、本当にこうなんていうんだろう、ある意味自信過剰にもうなっていた 時期で、
That
自分
would
たち
never
が世
happen.
界一だし、自分たちのグラフィックスこそが世界一だし、その作り方はその自分たちにしかできない。だからなんだろう、でも超巨大な成功体験ってやっぱり
God
足
damn.
かせというかにも
I
なる
missed that. I
例
missed
だ
that
と思うんです
first
け
time I
ど、
played that.
ものすごくおごってた、まあ悪い言い方をすればおごってた時期だったと思うんですね。まず例えると、その刀を作る刀匠のような職人たちが本当にたくさんいて、彼らが一つずつを手作りで作って世界一のクオリティを作り上げていたんだけど、実は世界は、まあ、特にその北米を中心にテクノロジーでそれをカバーするっていうところをずっと追求してきた時期で、プレイステーション3の世代になった瞬間にテクノロジーの方がそれを上回るっていう時期が来たせいで、作り方を変えようとはしないし、だけどテクノロジーも追いつけないっていうことから、さらにそれを知ってるはずのプログラマーたちはミドルウェアの制作に行ってるっていう状態で、でもグラフィックス作ってるそのアーティストたちは自分たちの作り方こそが世界一だと思ってるので、古い作り方で引き続きものすごく負荷のかかるやり方でアセットを作ってたので、もうそれらが絡まってっていうのが、まあもう一つの大きな、さっき2つあるって言った問題の1つ目がそれですね。
They literally just didn't grow with it. They didn't adapt. They basically kept what they had. I understand. I get that. Success has become a sort of shackle, and I think we had become very arrogant and prideful. I understand that. I that resonates. I get that. That's like a big thing when people start to grow and they feel like they have to keep doing that same thing, and you kind of get very, I know better, I can do better, and I get it. I mean, I'm not there. Don't get me wrong. Not yet, anyway. One day I'll be arrogant and
もう一つは
pompous.
プライドはいついかなる時でもとても大切なものだとは思うん
Great
ですけ
success
ど、
comes great
そこにやっぱり
responsibility.
超
Wait a
巨大
minute.
な成功体験をし
Said that
た
wrong.
っていうこと自体が乗っかってきちゃうと、
Ah,
自分たちの作るゲームこそがベストであって他をあんまり見る必要がないっていう時期でもあったんじゃないかなと思っていて、例えば
sounds like
当時
Blizz.
世界
Yep.
多分 MMORPG を知ってる人に世界最大の
Absolutely.
MMORPG は何ですかって言ったら100人に聞いたら100人がワールド・オブ・ウォークラフトって言ったはずなのに誰もプレイして
Game
ない
fucking sucks.
開発チームが。これはワールド・オブ・ウォークラフトを知ってるか知ってないかっていう話だけの話をしてるんじゃなくて、その自分たちが世の中に対して新しいそのビデオゲームをリリースしようとするときにライバルになるタイトルは何だろうとか、ユーザーは今プレイヤーはどこにそのゲームエクスペリエンスの最新の状態をプレイしてるんだろうっていうのを知らないっていうのが、その感覚として僕には結構信じられない。なんでもっとみんなゲームプレイしないの？だって自分たちが今どのあたりにいるか分かんなくなっちゃうよっていうのが、まあ言いたい。
That can be said with so much, like it's pretty much everything. Like content, like I relate to this with like content creation, because you look at what you're doing and you find a little bit of success, and then you kind of just focus in on yourself, and you can't look out and see what else is working for people. Like that's stuff like this is just cool. I like hearing the thought process behind other things, especially big companies that I like. Feel all MMOs should watch this doc like it's a free and a good lesson. Right. I mean, they made the WoW killer. I mean, WoW killed itself, but they took the WoW successor. Like, you should listen to these guys. They know what they're doing.
ファイナルファンタジー11の超巨大な成功体験っていうのが邪魔をしたっていうのもあるとは思うんだけど、あの当時はエヴァークエストを徹底的にプレイをして、だからこそ11を作ったはずなのに、新しいレストランをオープンするときに隣にあるレストランがどんなメニューを出していてどんなサービスをしてるかを知らずにレストラン開店させる人はいないんじゃないって。
So just at the launch stage then of 1.0, what was the feeling within Square Enix? The beta was
Dumpster
quite
fire.
close to launch. Were people anticipating that there would be negative feedback, or were they less aware that that was going to happen, I guess?
僕は他のチームにいてすごくベータの評判が悪いっていうのはネットでニュースは見てましたね。ただ多かれ少なかれ
Yeah, it was poor.
MMORPG のローンチは
4.7 out of
絶対
10.
にまあ荒れやすい。
I've never seen a game that
サーバー
low.
がすぐ落ちるとか、まあテストストレステストをやってるけどプレイヤーの方は遊びたいからやっぱりサーバーが落ちるとやっぱりすごく文句を言って当然だと思いますし。
He's dead. There's no way he's
だ
not
か
dead.
ら僕もやっぱり11を作ったチームだからまあそうは言っても11のやっぱり完成度が高いのでそこと比較をしてあの機能がないこの機能がないっていう話をしてるのかなっていうふうに思ってた。僕は僕自身の開発が忙しかったのもあってただそれも少しずつ収まっていくんだろうなっていうふうに僕は当時は見てた。ただ別の角度今度はそのオリジナルの14チームの中のその視点としてはこのままだと本当にまずいもっと時間をかけて品質を上げないとっていうもちろん声を上げる人たちもいたけれど会社
This is just nuts to hear.
全体の判
It's
断
nuts
として
to hear how
は
self-aware they were in
ファイナ
all
ル
of
ファンタジ
this.
ー11のスタートもそうだったと機能たくさんなかったしものすごくネガティブなフィードバックもたくさん来たけどパッチでどんどん直していって11は完成したんだから14も大丈夫だと
I
最
know
初は
what that
絶
is.
対こうなんだっていう風に判断したのでベータを終わらせてリリースへ踏み切ったっていうのが当時のジャッジだったって僕はチームに入ってからインタビューをしてそれを確認したのでチームの中ではやっぱり議論はあったそうです。あのままじゃダメまずいっていう話は。ただ最終的なジャッジは今お話しした通り11の時もそうだった。でも11だってずっとパッチを続けてああなったじゃないかと。
Eventually, corporate realized that this wasn't
I can't
usual
believe
launch
it.
problems, so they called on a few select members of the team to create a task force. This task force would research what changes the game needed and the resources the
They played
development
WoW,
environment
basically.
would require to do the work. Members of that team would talk to Yoshida-san about their worries after hours. His thoughts were that the current organizational structure would need to be modified if the team was going to make the changes required. In October of 2010, Yoshida-san talked to the then Square Enix president Yoichi Wada and suggested they initiate a company-wide emergency to get the team the resources they needed. Wada-san spent a few days talking to the 14 development team about their concerns, and while a lot of the team had
HR didn't censor any of this to protect an image. They're just like, look at all of our mistakes. I mean, I'm glad that this is how it went out because obviously
suggested that the current task force was
look at him
in
now.
fact up to the task, some members of the 14 team had pleaded to have Yoshida-san join the project to help. And so it transpired that in late November, corporate took the decision to remove Hiromichi Tanaka from the team.
Peace out,
And
Tanaka.
move Nobuaki Komodo from director to lead designer.
Peace out,
Both of their
Komodo.
vacant positions would be filled by Yoshida-san. At that time, he was
Damn,
leading a
he's-
team that was working on an original IP for Square Enix.
For
He
research.
was disappointed to leave that team, but excited for the opportunity.
That's the exact excuse I give when, you know, actually we're not going to talk about that. We don't need to bring that up right now. My wife might be listening. She'll know my secret.
Opportunity to work on one of the company's crown jewels, a numbered Final Fantasy game. So he got right to work.
Absolutely.
やらなきゃいけないことが当時3つあると思ってて、まあ、順番にやっててまずそのチームにまあ、オリジナルのチームにトップが変わります。であとそのタスクフォースメンバーもそのまま開発コアとしてリードに入りますっていう当然話をしなきゃいけない全チームに。ただ僕はドラゴンクエスト側のゲームを開発することが多かったのでそのほとんどのスタッフを知らないというか、まあ、顔と名前ぐらいは知ってるスタッフはいたけどその一緒に仕事したことがある人がほとんどいなかったのでまず「Say hello」っていうところからで一度もみんな仕事したことがないからどんな仕事をする人間なのかを見てくれればいいよってまずでこいつダメだと思ったらチームを抜けて構わないからっていう話を最初にして一緒に仕事してみようでも1回はいいよねってでそれでダメだと思ったら本当すぐ抜けて構わないから3ヶ月ぐらいまず一緒にやろうよっていう話を
How did they end up getting such a freaking down-to-earth guy to do all this? Like, he's not high-strung, he's not whatever, he's just a person. He's like a real life person. It's nuts. I cannot believe this. I knew Yoshi P was cool and everyone liked him, but I did not expect this. This is amazing. And then I'm hearing this with the fact that he was just able to come through, get collective on everybody, like everyone collectively working on one thing and take over two people's jobs. He's gonna make it work. What the hell?
僕スピーチでした記憶があります。
He's so human.
もう一回チャレンジするよ。まあ当然その時その
Easily. Oh, wait, hold up. Shit. I don't know what popped, but something did. Stop it. They won the lottery on offloading it to some random dude, honestly.
まだ結果がなかったので、とにかく立て直しをやるよ、ギブアップはしないよっていう話をした時に、僕を知ってる。
I am confident that there is nobody else on the planet who can do what he did with this. I'm baffled. I am completely mind blown that they were just like, you two suck. You, one guy, take this, fix it. And he's like, yeah, okay. Like the 1.0 nutshell video that we watched, it's completely accurate. Like nothing was exaggerated. Everything is true. Yet I'm hearing a more in-depth of like their brains and how they got there and everything. Like, this is awesome. I cannot believe this.
何人かはよしやるぞっていう人たち
fucking slumping.
もういい、もう無理だよっていう人たちと
And then Yoshi P said, shut the hell up.
なんだよこの急な体制変更って言ってまあ怒ってる雰囲気の人たちとっていうのが大体のその時の雰囲気でしたね。まあそんな中で今も14のサウンドディレクターやってるソケンがまあその話をしてた時と大きなホールだったんですけど。
He told me go to hell.
僕のマイクの調整とかやってくれてて、そのソケンがあいつだけですよ、やり直すぞっていうか、そのリベンジするぞって言ったらガッツポーズしてたのはあいつだけです。今でも覚えてます。2階席でおっしゃーってやってたんで、あいつ。
I saw both reactions. I saw the, oh my God, we just went through a year of hell and now he's asking us to go through a year and a half of hell to this point that might, be another failure because, no one had taken a game and rebuilt it in this manner before. So basically he's saying like, yeah, you just have to trust me and yeah, you could.
You don't know me, we've never worked together. You guys gotta trust me.
It could be a failure and, but you're gonna have to believe me on this one. And so yeah, a lot of people are like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know, and I can understand that because again, it was a gamble. But then on the other hand, there were, a lot of us, myself included, but a lot of people on the team that were like, no, we worked so hard on this, and we did our jobs the best that we could. But for a lot of reasons, some circumstances that were out of our control. Decisions made by higher ups, decisions made by other teams that have, affected our work, and nothing that we could do about it. But we had put our all into it, and we were invested in the project. We still believed in the project. To have someone from the outside come in, and not just come in to say, okay, forget it, we're just going to do it my way or the highway. He's like, he asked our opinions. He laid out a roadmap. He gave us a vision and a hope, and
he gave us a job that said, go play WoW for a month, come back to me, tell me what you learned and why 1.0 sucks, and we're going to change it. You're going to tell me why.
Even though it seemed like it would be difficult to achieve, it didn't seem inconceivable.
Now Yoshi P knew there was no time to wait. He worked with corporate to make sure the team had time off, both for them to relax, but also to give him time to build his new vision,
and
to
play
do research
WoW.
Playing other MMOs,
See?
and to
I
help
told
draft
you.
his plan, to deliver the vision and how the team was going to do it. They had very little time to fix this game, so once they started, the specifications document would have to be watertight, and as captain of the ship, he needed to be able to answer every question the team may have, quickly.
Yoshida-san was now at the helm of his first Final Fantasy, and as an avid MMO fan, he was looking forward to getting in there and fixing it. What he couldn't have known at this stage was the scale of the job ahead of him, that no matter how much they patched Final Fantasy XIV Online, they couldn't ever fix it. What they'd have to do was something that no developer had ever done, to rebuild an entire MMO while the original version was still running.
It's also weird how the OST duties went from Uematsu to Soken going from 1.0 to 2.0. 1.0 to 2.0. What the hell did I just say? Interesting. I don't know anything about that. I never really listened to. I didn't know anything better. That's why Yoshida was crying when Soken got cancer. He's like one of his best friends. Oh my god. I didn't know. Well, I obviously wouldn't have known that. That's not. When did that happen? Recently? Is he okay? I don't know anything about it. I think Uematsu didn't do all of the 1.0 either. Uematsu just did the main themes in 2.0 until Stormblood. Huh. I guess we'll have to listen to what the differences are. I've never heard Soken. I don't think
they realized immediately that it was something that couldn't be solved via patches. I think they still believe that, you know, if we patch it, it'll be fine. And it wasn't until they reevaluated and then brought in, you know, the new blood. Yoshida-san came in and told them, okay, yeah, this is not something that can be patched. If we want to fix this, we're going to have to take a drastic step.
Yoshida spent 7 weeks researching and returned with 2 options for corporate. It was then he realized that it would be impossible to convert the current game into an MMO that could last the test of time. Ultimately though, this was a decision that corporate had to make. So he returned with not 1, but 2 plans.
Okay.
Plan A and Plan B. During this meeting, he explained that Plan A would be to patch the game and make it more playable, but that ultimately the game would never really satisfy players, and though Square Enix may make their money back, the damage to the online brand would be catastrophic. And then there was Plan B.
Wipe it.
今のファイナルファンタジー4、当時のオリジナルのファイナルファンタジー14をパッチを当てて、そのできる限りポジティブに遊べるものにしながら。裏で全く新しいそのファイナルファンタジー14をもう一度作り直すっていうのが
Look at that watch, dude. It's lit.
まあその
Who is this
その
guy?
話だけを聞くと、まあそんなバカなってなるので当然どうやってそれを達成するかチームを
I also just realized he's wearing the four temps logo, sigil logo. You monster. How could you do this?
2つに分けて
Wait, Soken was making music for Shadowbringers while in the hospital getting treatment for cancer? Holy shit. I can't even imagine. Yeah, I'm curious to see the Hey, he's literally wearing Horstefan's shield. What the hell? No, oh my god, it literally has the hole in it. What the fuck? What? I thought that black speck in there, like in the picture, was just the just like something with his sweatshirt or something interacting with it. I didn't realize it was actually Horstefan's shield. What the? This dude is. Who is this guy? Imagine if he would have worked for Blizzard. We wouldn't be in this. WoW would have never been in this mess. Thank God he didn't. Thank God we got Final Fantasy. Yoshida has drip. All right? This is nuts.
でどういったマネジメントスタイルですか
I can't get over that shield, dude. What the fuck? How do you have it? He's got a necklace with it. I love this man. I'm gonna kiss him. If I ever get big enough where I get to possibly interview or talk to Yoshi P, I'm kissing him. Mark my words right here. I'm kissing him.
それをやるのかで大体発売時期はプレイステーション3版をリリースするっていうのがプレイヤーとの約束だったので
Fuck the PS3.
プレイステーション3の寿命が来る前にリリースしなきゃいけないので 2012年年末から2013年
Activision would have sucked the soul out of Yoshi P and not allowed him to make the game good. All right. But what if he owned Activision Blizzard and was able to make the game he wanted? Just saying. All right, just saying. Maybe he'll make WoW 2. Just kidding.
絶対リリースできるこの計画であればっていうプレゼンテーションをして、リスクは高い。ただ当然そんなことをしたことはない。
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. I cannot believe that.
で作り直してるから、成功うまくいったとしても成功するかどうかはわからない。ただ少なくともやっぱりファイナルファンタジーってクレイジーだねとか、すごいことするねとか。
That's true.
少なくとも自分たちが見
This is literally their Final Fantasy.
信頼を取り戻そうとしたっていう努力は見てくれてる人は多分見てくれるだろう。だからどっちをチョイスするかは会社に任せる。ただどっちであっても全力でやるよっていう話をプレゼンテーションして、まあ、結果的にはね、プラン B で
Here we are today.
今こうなってますけど。
Amazing. Give a little round of applause for Yoshi
Final
P for
Fantasy
saving
XIV 1.0
Hey, fuck off, Gabu.
was in a state of disarray. Square Enix had decided to suspend subscriptions to help ease the negativity around the game, while the PS3 version was indefinitely postponed. For the next 2 years, Yoshida-san and his team would work tirelessly on not one, but 2 MMOs, patching the original 1.0 to fans' expectations, while secretly working on a brand new version of Final Fantasy XIV. In our next episode, we focus on that 2-year period and tell the incredible story of the falling moon of Dalamud, the death of 1.0, and the birth of a new Eorzea.